What's going on, gamers? Man, it's hard to find some content this morning. I'm trying to do it. I was like, all right, let me just find something. And I was like, come on, y'all. Universe, show me something. You know what I mean? I end up running into this guy. So I see this headline and I'm like, okay, this guy must be a pony because he says that PS5 Pro will be Immortal. I'm like, what did I find this morning? I found something though, right? Let's get into this and see what this guy has to say. I'm like, yeah, you know how I like, no, 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 no. What do you mean the PS5 Pro will be immortal? So he's thinking the future updates of it will make it a really good console down the line. But he made a mistake here because one, he's not talking about market conditions and he's not talking about it never getting a price drop. I don't know, man. This guy, some interesting stuff because we got a comment down here too that we're gonna get into. So let's see what he has to say here. Let's go.
Here. So I've been using the PS5 Pro for a while now, and it's
Okay.
kind of a weird machine. Not in a bad way. I mean, it works, it does what it says on the box, but there's this strange feeling that it's just waiting, like it hasn't fully shown its hand yet. It's okay right now.
No, it's not okay. And the reason why it's not okay because it hasn't shown its hand now is because when you get something, it should be ready out the box. They gave you an incomplete console and they charged $700 for it. And as a matter of fact, dude, they haven't turned up the prices of it yet. So the idea of saying a PS5 Pro will be more, it's just a stupid headline. I don't even know why you would say that if you didn't understand that this console should not be released in that state, that they're using you as a lab rat or a beta tester, but they're asking you to pay full price. Which is insane. And then they tell you this, the thing that they want to future in front of you, they're already getting rid of it. And I do love what's coming in the future, but you should have went ahead with that. You know what I mean? They had that console coming out soon. But they had you sit there waiting in some waiting line for this future that's supposed to blow your mind. No, 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 man. They should have delayed the damn console. And that's why I skipped it. I usually get everything just in general, upgrades, all that, right? That's the first time I've never done that, right? This generation is the first time for a lot of things. You know what I mean? Where it's like, damn, I thought I would never get rid of a console like that, you know what I mean? But shit, man. Oh, upfront disclaimer. Okay, so let's read this. This gets interesting. I am not a Sony fanboy, nor a Nintendo fanboy. This is his disclaimer. Okay. I play on platforms because of the games. Because of this, I am not biased or leaning towards one company or the other. End disclaimer. So it's not this guy, this is another dude. What I do want to point out is that while Sony seems to be more focused on hardware, Nintendo uses less potent hardware and prioritizes on the games, which is what it's all about. I personally prefer the approach of Nintendo a little more since they understand that games sell systems. Good job, you actually have a brain. This may have gotten less relevant in the past few years due to cross-platform releases and less exclusives on consoles. Outside of their ecosystem, 100%. For my liking, though, Nintendo does too little in terms of hardware. Yes, especially looking at you, Switch 2, but I am getting carried away. I deeply thank Sony for developing and constantly pushing VR. Kind of. I find this being the main reason for purchasing a PS5 Pro. A VR demands a lot of horsepower. I think that's where the Pro could greatly outshine the standard PlayStation 5. The problem with that is that the market is just not there yet. It's just like Game Pass and all those other stuff. The sub-market is it's still too early. You know what I mean? So maybe in the future, right, where you can put on some sunglasses and it's more accessible. But right now, VR is hard to push. And you saying Nintendo does little in terms of hardware. I mean, yeah, they don't chase power after the GameCube and all that. They saw that that wasn't what it was for, and they said they would never do that again because they realized that's not what it was. And they're right. They went to the Wii and look at what happened. And then went to the Switch. Well, they did the Wii U. That was a mistake. But hey, that's led to something far greater. And yeah, the thing with Sony is that they lost their balance with Japan. So let's continue reading what this guy said. This is some funny stuff right here. But overall speculation of drooling over hardware mostly doesn't get me excited. Quite the contrary. It has been proven time and again that the best games of any console generation has been released very close to the end of the console's life cycle. Sometimes. The bottom line, the standard PlayStation 5 hasn't even reached its full potential. Yeah, then none have because of these broken ass engines and all these release games. You're just beta testing. I see the biggest selling point for PS5 Pro is better VR graphics, but there's no market for it, dude. And man, we need better graphics. No, we do not. We need better gameplay, better replay value, better optimized games. What are you talking about? This is the damn problem. That's why games are 300 and some $1 million. With most this guy's over here talking about VR, bro. This is have a market to push the console. Nobody's gonna buy a PlayStation Pro for VR. Shut up. I'm done reading you.
You get sharper edges, some steadier frame rates, a bit more visual polish in certain games, but let's be honest, most of that stuff flies under the radar unless you're the kind of person who notices when shadows flicker at 60 FPS instead of 45. It's not a mind-blowing leap, it's not a must-have. I mean, a lot of people skipped it entirely and haven't felt like they missed out on anything because you really haven't. But
no, what would they miss out on? I mean, I have my PC, so to me, it just seems insane to pay $700 for something that's not ready and has all those problems at the start. I remember everything, you know what I mean? I forgive, but I don't forget. And it's not an accident. You knew you were working on Amethyst and you still released the damn console like that. So this is what I'm saying. If you had a better CPU, you had something like Amethyst and it was like that, and I looked at the 700, I said, okay, you know what I mean? But the fact that you do that and then by the time it's ready, they're going to jack the damn price up. That's what I'm thinking. You got this guy over here saying the PS5 Pro will be Immortal, but the funny thing that I find about this is that he had the audacity to actually post this. You have to be a pony to post this, or Sony is paying you. It's just the most ridiculous title because it's the exact opposite of appearing like that. I get what he's trying to fantasize as of like, man, down the line, the PS6 could be whatever. This could go on sale. You know what I mean? There's going to be a price drop because that's the usual console approach, right? There's going to be a price drop, right? But no, this thing's going to go up and you would be lucky if it gets back to the price that it originally was. So if you're thinking down the line, man, look at the PS5 Pro, y'all. It's $449 right now. It's $400, you know what I mean? Like the Pro. And then it has like the AMD FSR4 and it has all that stuff going. This is what he's thinking. But the way this market is working lately, it's insane. It's upside down and backwards. Everything is going to the extreme opposite, where it's like instead of going down, things are going up. Yeah, strange.
I will say though, there's something different about this one in particular. It doesn't necessarily feel like a stopgap. To me, it feels like it was built to stretch. Sony and AMD have been working on something called Project Amethyst.
That would work only if you knew how to balance the price point as time passed on. Because as if you're saying, the Pro should be moving towards, well, by the time we get to that aspect, towards $600 for a price drop. Or $649, and then the day after that, $600, and after that, $549. You know what I mean? Something like that. And I'm like, okay, now that thing's looking pretty nice. That's like a, you know, a nice solid option. Like somebody wanted to get a PC like that, right? I get what you're trying to say, but with the way this market is going and the way this anti-consumer behavior has been lately, I can't trust to even want to think like that because it doesn't make sense to think that they would be doing that right now because they haven't jacked the price up in the US. So that's why I said, I don't know, man. No.
Behind the scenes collaboration focused on AI powered graphics tech.
Ridiculous.
Now, it's not just for the PS5 Pro, it's being designed for future systems as well. So part of this includes a new image reconstruction upgrade that's supposed to hit in 2026. And if what they're aiming for actually lands, the Pro might finally grow into the thing people hoped it would be at launch. I'm not saying that this is guaranteed because stuff like this gets overhyped all the time, but consoles never evolve. Before the PS5 Pro, a console was always just a fixed machine. And so this is what makes me want to talk about the PS5 Pro, not because the Pro is some hidden gem right now, but because it might quietly become one. It might be the one that outlasts expectations, especially once all the pieces it was built for actually start to fall in place. Alright, so using the Pro doesn't really feel like it's stepping into some bold new chapter of console gaming. Like if you didn't know it was a Pro, you might
Bro, it's literally the same console, the same CPU, same RAM. They added in a little mid GPU upgrade. That's it. Why does this have to be so complicated? So you added in a GPU, and then you took some RDNA features from AMD's upscaling. Mark Cerny's been learning a lot of things about AI upscaling. He's now in full collaboration where he got hands-on involved with the project, big time being involved, Sony being more involved. But him doing all that does not change the fact that everything that's going to lead to after that is still going to be the same thing that's always been available on PC, except they're more up to date with AMD's AI upscaling. It's kind of like an RTX 4060 Ti in there, or maybe a little bit weaker than that, which it is if you think about comparing it to full watts on a computer compared to an AP chip. Yeah, because you're kind of crunching it together. So, and you use less watts, kind of like a laptop or whatever, you know what I mean? So you don't even have full on integrated like you would on a PCI, you know what I mean? Fully integrated with full watts. It's not like that on a console. Not to say that it doesn't work almost as good, but you can't, because you're also still left behind in the CPU realm and the realm and the AI upscaling realm. So, no, man.
Might honestly just assume you were still on a regular PS5. And I think that's the weird thing about it. On paper, it's more.
Yes, because the broken engines, the unoptimized games, that's what I'm saying. Your PS5 base was not even being used fully. When you see Nintendo, the way they designed Mario Kart World, and you go on these other games, you play something like Crash Team Racing, like it blows it out of the water. The way that it looks just visually. And that's not even fully next gen from the ground up like it should have been, though they had to redesign it. Basically, what I'm saying is that these developers, these engines are more of a problem than anything else.
More powerful, it's built to be more capable, but in practice, it kind of feels really familiar. I've been using it pretty consistently since I picked it up, just revisiting all the old games I've already completed. And what I keep coming back to is how subtle the whole experience is. The games don't look wildly different, the menus are the same, the home screen is identical. If anything, you're basically using a slightly tuned up version of what you already know. In performance modes, I notice cleaner visuals, especially in games that used to cut corners to hit 60.
So we already know this. Dude, you would have been fine if you wouldn't have done this title. This title is literally your problem. You saying the PS5 Pro will be Immortal. Like, it makes you look like a fanboy openly. You're inviting that in. You know what I mean? I'm not even trying to come in here and try to slam the dude, but it's like, guy, if you understood the market conditions and you understood what was going on and you understood how this console launched, you didn't even like mention any of that, but you said things feel certain similar. I like the video, the vibes, all that. Oh, that's cool. But outside of that, no. And then that comment down there was just dumb. So that's my thing with the PS5 Pro. Yeah, it could have been much better if they would have not been so anti-consumer about it, because they were winning. You were selling more, you know what I mean? You had all that, and then here comes your base, and that's the way you handle them, and then followed by the cancels. That's what I mean. That's bad. Things are picking up because you were launching some of those games. Yeah, you did some strategies against Microsoft, but that still doesn't change all that behavior. You know what I mean? And I tell y'all, it's just about just being straight up and honest about the situation. I just am not still happy about the way they handled the Pro. And when companies do stuff like this, I just ignore the product, because I'm not going to be your slap around customer and you can just do whatever you want and then hit the price tag and think that I'm just going to hit the buy button. I don't think so. So that's my take on this. If it gets better and it does hit that price point, yes, I could see this, his point, being more relevant. But the idea of this title is just, no, man, I can't allow it to sit there. So I'm bringing you guys something, a little bit of salt, a little bit of entertainment, just to, keep things going here. Give back to this a little bit, because I've done all the other stuff. And you know me, I like to be creative, and I'm not the type of person to sit there and stay like that. I can't, because, that's not who I am. So, let me know what you guys think about this. Pony, sit down. Have a great day. I'll be looking for some more content. A little bit dry today, but, if you're creative, you'll find something. Later, y'all. Peace out. Have a great day.